2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place where you get out overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network. This is a Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. We got a whole lot to do today. Ryan Holland's going to stop by an hour 20 from now. We'll chat some NBA playoffs with him. I will get into why I'm not worried about the Boston Celtics in just a second, and why Nikola Jokic also should not have won the MVP this year. But I am in a interesting mood today, and I'm on one today. And I woke up, was in a great mood, like, oh, it's a Friday, going to be a wonderful weekend. Went to the gym, did my hour on the elliptical, was feeling real good, made a little protein shake, got my Starbucks coffee. And then when I was walking to the block that it is to get to my Starbucks, I start to see that it's raining in the city. So I go, okay, I'm running a little bit late, got to get in the shower, get ready for the show, do all that. And I said, I'll take an Uber to work today. Now, I live an 8-minute Uber drive to get to work. The Uber driver picked me up, and all you have to do from my apartment is go a mile straight down one road, you make a right, you go 2 blocks, you make a left, and then you're at the office. That's how easy it is. For some reason, this Uber driver, and there's a little traffic that's forming on a Friday, he goes away from the GPS. Now, if you go away from the GPS, you need to know where you're going. And it was abundantly clear that he did not know where he was going. So at first, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And then when I realized he didn't know where he was going, I'm like, you have to turn left. He's like, no, sir, I know where I'm going. So I'm like, okay. And then this dude, because he's impatient, and that's the reality of the situation, because when you eventually turn left on the road where our work is, you have to stay in the left lane. If you do not stay in the left lane, it eventually puts you into the Holland Tunnel, which then takes you to New Jersey. So, as this is happening, he gets up to the point where they cut you off and don't let you take a left on Hudson. He's like, the road's closed. I'm like, the road's not closed. And I'm not yelling at him, to be clear. I'm yelling now, but I wasn't yelling at him. I'm just like, the road isn't closed. You just don't know where you're going. So then the office is all the way to the left. Then the guy starts going all the way to the right. And I'm like, can you please just listen to me? Like, I'm not great with directions, but I know how to get to the damn office. And finally, he listened to me. And then you would think, because I don't like to negatively rate Uber drivers. I don't. Because their rating impacts their livelihood probably to some extent. So I usually always give 5 stars. But a little common courtesy, after it took 28 minutes to get to work on what should have been an 8-minute drive, you probably just should have said, hey, I'm sorry, have a good weekend. Drops me off on the wrong side of the street, by the way, and doesn't even say anything. So I'm like, you know what? 2 stars. I did. Okay, he was just rude. He was giving attitude, and he just took. I'm very simple. All you need to do is just take a little accountability. That's all you need to do. If you just said, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Like, I've said that before in my life. I've done things wrong. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But he's blaming it on the GPS. No, it was because you were impatient and you didn't want to wait like 2 minutes when there was a little bit of traffic. So that got me in a bad mood. And while I was in the car for an extra 20 minutes, some Pacers fans got a hold, timing is everything, of my Rick Carlisle take. Now, remember when Bart Winkler joined us in the first round and he was going after Pacers fans? And I had no reason to have any issue with Pacers fans up until this point. I don't really have a dog in the fight with the Knicks and the Pacers. So I have no reason to have an issue with Pacers fans, right? For the Knicks, I know Leon Rose. For the Pacers, I went to also sleepaway camp, ironically enough, with people in the Simon family who own the Indiana Pacers. So I just want to see a good series. If anything, I was trying to put some respect on the Pacers' name before the series did commence. When you have like guys like Hickey saying, Knicks in 5, the Pacers suck. I'm like, no, I feel like this could be a 6 or 7 game series. I'll take the Knicks in 7. So all these Pacers fans are delusional. And a lot of them are dolts. Okay? If you actually think, especially this year, that the NBA is determined off the officiating because the officials favor big market teams compared to smaller market teams, you're just a sycophant for the organization that you root for in the Indiana Pacers. There's no other way about this. Because if the officials just favored the small market teams, why are the Thunder the 1 seed? Why are the Minnesota Timberwolves now the favorite to win the NBA championship? Why did the Milwaukee Bucks win an NBA championship a few years ago? And oh yeah, by the way, because right, the referees are favoring the big bad Knicks because they're in a big bad market. Why have the Knicks practically sucked for 20 years? So those 2 things, a bad Uber driver and dumb Indiana Pacers fans, went from this being like a wonderful Friday, a very happy-go-lucky Friday, to now myself just being very annoyed with the world. Because I just want to see accountability taken in this world, and I don't want to deal with stupid people. Okay, let's have a good Friday show, everybody. This is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I got Michael Samter. I got Stuart Kovacs with me. We're rocking and rolling all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You know what, guys? Can we get a 3-shot, please, on the YouTube stream, just so people watching on YouTube can see this? Can we just have like a moment of zen for a second? You know, everyone just take a big, deep breath. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. All righty. It's going to be a wonderful Friday. Let's have a good Friday here. I always close my eyes. Did Stu, Samter, no way. Did Samter, did you breathe in and breathe out there?
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of methods of anger management. So, yeah, you've seen me at my best and you've seen me at my worst. So you know that I need as much help as possible.
Maybe I should have consulted you.
And listen, if the U2 Green Day concert situation was any indication, I am not good in that situation either. I was yelling at cab drivers in Vegas myself.
And I hate to be that person. Like
I love it.
I cringed when that driver in Vegas took every wrong turn as we were trying to get to the Green Day concert. I was cringing when Samter was in the mood. But I was not like you, to be clear, in this Uber driver. I was just telling him where to go, and I was being polite. I don't like to be that guy. But today, I thought I almost had to be that dude. Like, you know how you won't know because you haven't seen the movie. And like Mike, they go to tie their shoes, and they're like Mike? I almost, hit my chest today to get myself in the mode and say, all right, be like Mike, except Mike Samter, not Michael Jordan. Alrighty, I'm not worried about the Boston Celtics. Let me be clear. I'm not worried about the Boston Celtics in order for their chances to get to the NBA Finals. I am not a believer, and I'm not of the thought that the Celtics are going to win the NBA championship this year. And what you saw last night, a lot of people will be like, here comes the Celtics again. And here comes the Celtics that we always doubt. That's not me today in the Eastern Conference. Because we just did this, I don't know, a round ago. When Boston won game 1, and then in game 2, Miami shot the lights out of the building. They stole game 2, and Boston didn't drop another game. At most now, this is only going 6 games. You know, maybe the Cavs get one on their home court. But even if it goes to a game 7, even though I would be surprised, I think there's a 0% chance that the Celtics aren't at least advancing to the Eastern Conference Final. And then you look at the potential opponent that they'd be going up against, the Indiana Pacers, who have crybaby Carlisle. And then you also have the Knicks, who are now like the decimated Knicks. If the Knicks were healthy, maybe the Knicks could take down the Celtics. But Jalen Brunson, who's just a machine, is not playing 100%. OG Anunoby is dealing with the hamstring injury. We know Julius Randle is out for the season. And the Pacers have a solid team. They have a good team. Now, I like Pascal Siakam. I like Tyrese Halliburton. TJ McConnell. How about Rick Carlisle stops bitching about the officials and he actually puts him back in the game? But I don't think either of those teams are going to take the Celtics down 4 times in a 7-game series. Like, if the Celtics don't get to the NBA Finals this year, and let me be abundantly clear, it is championship or bust for the Boston Celtics. But the road in the East has never been easier for Boston to get to the NBA Finals. The Bucks, home. Miami, home. The Knicks, a good team. I think their ceiling this year is just getting to the conference finals. So, yes, you don't like to see what happened to Boston last night, where the Cavaliers just took it to them in the second half. And I can understand why some people say, here goes the Celtics again. Just when people start to buy in and just when people start to think this is going to be a quick series, they're going to make it a lot tougher than what it needs to be. And some of that may be true. Maybe it is tougher than what it's going to need to be. But as long as Jason Tatum is healthy, and I don't like what Jason Tatum said after the game last night, but as long as he is healthy, I don't see a way where the Celtics don't get to the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not telling you I believe that the Celtics are going to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. If Minnesota gets there, I'm taking Minnesota. If Oklahoma City gets there, right now I'm probably taking Oklahoma City. If Denver comes back and defeats the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm probably taking Denver. You know, the Mavericks, they bounced back last night. They got a victory. and Luka Doncic had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. And you had PJ Washington with just a very efficient performance, 7 of 11 from behind the arc, and he registered 29 points. I'm just concerned still about that knee for Luka Doncic with the knee sprain that he's dealing with. And you saw it be really, really, really impactful in Game 1 and hinder his performance in Game 1, and they were able to get the victory in Game 2. So I guess you got to see the matchup and how everyone is from a health standpoint, but I will not sit here and say today the Celtics losing last night means they're not going to find a way to win 3 more times up against the Cavaliers and then 4 more times up against either New York or Indiana. I'm not telling you that I believe they're going to win the championship. I'm just not going to panic and do the show today all doom and gloom about the Boston Celtics that the Celtics are screwed. Because they're not screwed in order to get to the NBA Finals. Can they win a championship this year? They're going to need Kristaps Porzingis back. Can they? Yes. Do I think they will? No. Alrighty, let me play you, though. And this I did not like. This is Jason Tatum after losing Game 2 last night. Listen up.
I mean, that's the narrative that you might see on TV. The idea that we have a super team. It's twofold, right? We didn't have the Coach of the Year. We didn't have the MVP. We only had 2 All-Stars. So they say we're a super team, but, we didn't get rewarded like we are. We know we got a good team. We're not perfect. We play the right way more often than not. And we know we got to be better. But, for, I guess, saying people that are spoiled from our success, we don't pay attention to those things. We just go out there and control what we can control.
So here's my problem with that. The Celtics weren't deserving of Joe Mazzulla winning Coach of the Year. Jason Tatum wasn't deserving of winning an MVP. Heck, quite frankly, I don't even think Brad Stevens should have won Executive of the Year. But he did. So to bitch about 2 awards that you didn't win and not acknowledge an award that you did win, I don't love that. But quite frankly, you lose Game 2, I don't need to hear you sitting there and worrying about individual awards. And maybe I'm wrong here. When did anyone ever call the Celtics, this version of the Celtics, a super team? This is an era of dynamic duos. The dynamic duo for the Celtics is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, did they add some good other pieces? Yes, Kristaps Porzingis is a good other piece. The trade they made with the Bucks, they added another good piece. But to sit here and act like, oh, the Celtics got screwed and the Celtics haven't got respect, what is he talking about? But this is what happens when you've been a group that's been together for so long and hasn't won a championship. People start to doubt you. So I hear that, and I thought Jason Tatum, who I like a lot, just came off really soft last night. And if I'm a Celtics fan, I don't want to hear that. I don't need to hear you being concerned about individual awards that this team didn't win. And quite frankly, if we're going to talk about MVP, and we're going to talk about the MVP award, I love Nikola Jokic, and I get what happened. No one really took a firm grasp on the MVP this year. It was open, so it ended up going this year to the best player. And it's not always the case. Like, there's been years where LeBron has been the best player and he didn't win the MVP. But if I was voting for the MVP and I don't have a vote, I would have considered 2 people for my first place vote this year. And those 2 people would have been Jalen Brunson and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those would have been the 2 guys. If you go by the definition of not just who's the best players, but who's the most valuable to his team, look at what Brunson has done with the Knicks that led them to a 2 seed. He went from someone that we thought was, at the time, an overpaid player, someone that was good, into a great player this year. And then for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, he averaged over 30 points per game and was a 1 seed. So those 2 guys, to me, should have been the MVP over Nikola Jokic. And for Jason Tatum, yeah, he was a 1 seed. Yeah, he's the Celtics' best player. But if you want to say maybe he should have been the third name on the list, okay, you could argue it. Luka Doncic also has to be in the fold too, and Nikola Jokic as well. But I don't think Mazzulla was deserving of Coach of the Year. I don't think, quite frankly, Brad Stevens was deserving Executive of the Year, and he won. And I don't think Jason Tatum was deserving of the MVP. So that's the part for me, Samter and Stu, where I get lost. It seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Samter, it seemed like last night, Jason Tatum was doing the woe is me, woe is us. We get called a super team, which you don't, but we don't get the respect like one. Well, that timing's a little bit off because you guys lost last night. So you want to shut everyone up. No one's going to give you praise for just getting to the NBA Finals. This is an easy road this year for you guys. You don't get to the finals just for starters, absolute failure. But this needs to be the year when young stars are emerging and starting to now have a lot of team success, like SGA with the Thunder, Anthony Edwards with the Timberwolves, where you have now had proven guys for a while, and you've tinkered with the roster a little bit to make it better, and you need to go win the championship. So I don't get why his feelings are all hurt when people are asking him fair, legitimate questions when you lost the game too, which in the past, this Celtics team has made it tougher on them than what they've actually needed it to be.
I think his point, to an extent, is not necessarily that he's complaining that they didn't win awards or that he's saying that people call them a super team. Basically, what he's saying is, listen, we have a team that has 2 very good players and a good coach, but we win because we just play really well together. We're not a super team.
Okay.
We're not... we're not the Dream Team Eagles, and we're not the,
Well, the Dream Team Eagles suck.
Yeah, we're not the Golden State Warriors with multiple Hall of Famers on the roster. He's we're just a good team who knows how to play together. And this idea that we're a dominant team just because we're so good and that we have so much talent, it's not true. We're good because we play well together. 15
games better. I'm not arguing here, just to be clear.
Yeah.
They were 15 games better than everybody else in the Eastern Conference.
Right, but the point is that, yes, they were 15 games better than everybody else, but you know who finished higher than Jason Tatum in MVP voting? Jalen Brunson, Giannis, and those 2 guys who finished behind them in the Eastern Conference, right? Jalen Brunson didn't get a first or second place vote for the MVP. Now, I don't think he should have won MVP, but if you're 15 games better than everybody else and you don't get a first or a second place MVP vote, you got 1 third place vote. Basically what you're saying is this is a team that doesn't have superstars. This is a team that has a lot of really good players that play well together. And that's kind of what he was saying. We don't have the best coach. We don't have the best player. We don't have multiple Hall of Famers. We're just a really good team that plays really well together, and we deserve the respect of being a team that plays well together.
But here's the thing, though. They don't deserve the respect. And the reason why they don't deserve the respect is this. There are teams before that we've seen them have great regular seasons, and come postseason time, they've come up short. Look at Lamar Jackson. Does anyone care that Lamar Jackson won his second MVP this year? No. Because what he does in the regular season now is irrelevant when you don't get to a Super Bowl. The same thing was with Giannis Antetokounmpo and also Nikola Jokic until they won a championship. There are certain players and there are certain teams that have been there for, like Josh Allen. Will anyone give a rat's ass if Josh Allen is the 1 seed next year in the AFC and he wins an MVP? No. Because the regular season doesn't matter for some of those teams in the way that we view it, because it's okay. We've seen you been great before in the regular season. I've seen Jason Tatum be great before in the regular season. But you have to break through and win a championship. And guys like Giannis did so. Guys like Nikola Jokic did so. Josh Allen hasn't yet. Lamar Jackson hasn't yet. And it's just one of those things where that's the reality of the situation. I'm not saying it's easy because you like a little praise, but all throughout the year in the regular season, I'm like, okay, the Celtics are much better than everybody, but it even puts more pressure on them because it's not just getting to the finals. They've been to the finals before. They have a team that on paper is good enough to win a championship. You have Jason Tatum, a star. Jaylen Brown, very good player, all-star. You have Drew Holiday, won a championship before. You get Porzingis back. We know what he's capable of. You know, Derek White has turned into a really good player for them. They have enough. Now you have to do it. And now you have to be mentally tough to overcome not only adversity, but people doubting you. Because it's not as if people's doubt about the Celtics is unfair, because they haven't won a championship. And also part of that, I know we got to take a break, but part of that is they came onto the scene so early and they had so much success early where they overachieved. Now, though, we're way past that point. Now the window is open and you have to capitalize. So, no, I have no sympathy for Jason Tatum last night. I have no sympathy that Mazzulla didn't win Coach of the Year because he shouldn't have, or Tatum didn't win MVP because he shouldn't have. And, hey, Brad Stevens won the Executive of the Year. He shouldn't have either. But he did. So this idea that people aren't praising the Celtics or they disrespect them, it's just nonsense. You need to go win a championship. And until you do that, people are going to view you as a player who's really damn good but doesn't have the title. Coming on back, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is a Zach Gelb show on this Friday. You know, I read a story late last night, and I see that there's a lot of response to this. And I'll ask Samter and Stu if, what this means to them, because I'm really perplexed by this. So Lamar Jackson has lost 25 pounds, not all in just one offseason. In 2022, he weighed 230 pounds. Last year, he played at 215. Now he's at 205. So he has lost 10 pounds from last season. Since 2022, he's lost 25 pounds. What does that tell you, Samter? Is there a take that you have that's elicited from the news that Lamar Jackson has been cutting down on the LBs a little bit?
I was actually happy when he gained the LBs just from a health standpoint, but in reality, for the most part, Lamar has been healthy most of his career. So it's possible that after his MVP season, he just realized, you know what, maybe putting on that weight actually hurt me a little bit. As long as I can stay healthy, I can drop back down and be even more effective.
Because before the MVP season, which was this past year, he had back-to-back seasons where he got hurt and he ended the season on the sideline. But I will say, to your point, all things considered with Lamar, he doesn't take a lot of hits. For a guy that runs that much, he does not take a lot of hits. Stu, is there any reaction that you have to this story? Because I see people are making a big deal, like they're wondering if this is a good thing or a bad thing for Lamar Jackson to be losing this weight.
I'm kind of aligned with Mike a little in terms of, I don't feel like it was something where, okay, he's out of shape. He needs to lose weight. We've seen with, some basketball players, like James Harden.
Sure.
That has been a classic
Zion.
example. Yes, they have to lose weight. They're out of shape. Lamar Jackson is definitely not out of shape, and I don't think it's to the point where him losing weight is going to help him. It's not going to make him faster. I don't think that's possible. So I'm kind of in the mindset of, I'm not sure why he would do this. I don't think it changes much, but to me, I question a little why he would do that.
So I actually... And maybe this is a stretch. I will preface it this way, because I really think this is not that big of a deal and it's not really that much of a story. But last year, when Todd Monken took over, Lamar and also Todd Monken and the Ravens told you what? They told you they were going to throw. They were going to throw a lot more like never before. And in that AFC Championship game, I was actually confused why they didn't use Lamar in his best way possible. I thought they should have ran him more and used his legs more in the AFC Championship game to win that one game. And I thought last year at times the Ravens were trying to make a point to you, and I think Lamar's a better passer than what he gets credit for, to be clear. But I think the Ravens last year, because of all the conversation about Lamar, were trying to say, yeah, we're a team that we haven't won yet, but we are going to win, and we're going to do it the way that a lot of people think we can't do it. And that's making Lamar throw the football more. So I do wonder, not that Lamar needs to get faster, but him cutting off an additional 10 pounds this offseason is maybe him trying to get faster. And just maybe the Ravens are going to go back to running the football a lot more with Lamar Jackson this year, and Lamar thinks he needs to cut some of this weight off to get faster. That's the only thing that I could think of in terms of, and let me preface it by saying, the over-analysis with this conversation that's done. So that's what I just thought a little bit when trying to figure out what it could be. But I've seen a lot of conversation about this where I don't really understand, for the most part, a lot of people thinking like this could be negative, because it's not as if really throughout this entire career, and Lamar suffered injury, that Lamar's size has put him in danger of getting hurt. Because he does a good job with how much he used to run, and still runs to this day, and not taking the big hit. Like when he broke, I think it was Michael Vick's record, yeah. He took a big pop a few years ago. That's like one of the big pops I vividly remember seeing Lamar Jackson take. For the most part, for a guy that we talk so much about how he runs, he doesn't really risk himself or put himself at risk all that much.
And for me, I don't think that, like, if you think about Lamar's game and Lamar's abilities and all these things, like, to your point, it doesn't seem like getting faster or stronger or any of those things are what really is holding him back. Mm-hmm. What's holding him back is just performing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is just putting it out and doing what 100%. He does during the regular season in that AFC title game, because he's done everything. He's won games with his arms.
Besides
he's won games with his
100%.
legs. He's won games while he was heavy. He won games while he was light. He's won MVPs. He's won Division 2. He's done all of it. He just hasn't won in the playoffs, and I don't think gaining or losing weight is going to change that. That's up here, right? That's not in the gut. That's not in the arm. That's in the head and eventually and the heart. And he just has to get that part done. And once he does, he's gonna get there eventually. I mean, he's too good of a player not to.
Is Secretariat a cheater? I got to use this as a tease. Is Secretariat a cheater? We'll tell you one prominent name who thinks so next. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Oh, it didn't work out with the Suns, with one coach that had previously won a championship, so now they're set to try another. They're reportedly close to hiring Mike Budenholzer as their new head coach. The 54-year-old took the year off after being let go by Milwaukee. The Timberwolves have been one of the great stories in the NBA this year and now have a 2-0 series lead over Denver as they host tonight's Game 3. Rudy Gobert is back in the lineup after missing the previous game for the birth of his child. The Wolves have everything clicking right now, but head coach Chris Finch said the defending champs aren't going down without a fight.
I mean, I expect their best, their best physical effort, their best mental effort. I expect their best, one of their best efforts of the season. It's a NBA champion over there with a lot of pride, a lot of good players, and a great coaching staff who we know well. So they're going to keep shuffling the deck till they feel that they come up with something that they can, give to us, and they're going to come out of the gate strong.
The Pacers are back home to host the Knicks, down 2-0. Indiana has lost 2 close games, and the officiating has been a source of contention. In fact, Rick Carlisle was fined $35,000 for his recent comments, which the NBA said questioned the integrity of the league and its officials. OG Anunoby out tonight for New York with a hamstring injury. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
It's time to ask the pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. You can thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. And for my dear, dear, dear friend, Largent Parks of the YouTube chat, he loves my singing. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's get to a news brief.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, let's start it off with the New Heights podcast. Jason Kelce. All right, he believes Secretariat is a cheetah. What's it up?
All major speed records in the Triple Crown races are still held by Secretariat, who set them in 1973.
Which is wild.
That's not that wild because Secretariat was juiced to the gills. Secretariat just so happens to be right in the heart of the steroid era. 1973, every NFL player, every baseball player, they were juicing them to the gills. You don't think Secretariat was juiced to the rafters? Of course it's the fastest horse of all time. They didn't drug test Secretariat the way they did Mystic Dan. Nobody talks about it. Secretariat was doping. There's no chance Secretariat wasn't doping.
That's up, man.
Why does anyone care about this, Samter? Why are people... I've seen the reaction, and sometimes I see people lose their mind on social media, and I go, why is anyone taking something that's clearly in like a fun mood with Jason Kelce so seriously here? Why so serious? I'll be like the Joker.
I think it's twofold. One,
father-
you're accusing a horse that can't...
Wait, you've seen The
Of
Dark
course.
Knight, right? He goes like,
Why so serious?
my father was a drinker. Why so serious? All right, continue.
Yeah, I know. We do a good Heath Ledger. I think it's twofold. One, he's accusing a horse who A, is deceased, and B, can't defend itself as being a cheater, which just feels unfair to just kind of throw it out there. And B, he also accused every baseball and NFL player of using steroids during the 70s. Now, that opens up a whole new can of worms. With all the talk of PEDs in the 90s and the early 2000s, if guys were cheating and roiding up back in the 70s, then all those idiots got to shut their traps and let all these other PED users in the 90s and 2000s in, like Bonds, Clemens, Sosa, Palmeiro, and all those other guys.
But here's the thing. To your point, baseball players could have said no. Football players could have said no. The horse couldn't say nay to steroids. Dun-dun-dun. There's your cheesy joke of the day. I'll be here all night. All right, now. Let's get to Matt Eberflus, starting fresh with his rookie QB, Caleb Williams.
It's really a great opportunity, right? It's refreshing to be able to do that. I know the whole building's excited about working together, not only with Caleb, but with everybody. And it's certainly nice to have that fresh start.
Has he been told that he's the starter going into training camp? Do you even have to have that conversation?
No conversation. He's the starter.
I like that. He's ready to go. Some of these coaches like, oh, we need to have a competition. Stop. We all know as long as he's healthy, Caleb Williams is starting week 1. And it was just confirmed by the coach. So Big Baby Davis is going to jail. I think it's for 40 months. It's never a good idea once you find out that you're going to jail, that you decide to go on like Instagram Live or something live. I think this is IG Live, which he did go on, but this is Big Baby Davis going to prison.
Damn, I got a cold imagination though. I do that acting. I got a cold imagination. I'm gonna have to choke the chicken in the bathroom. That's crazy. I'm gonna be swole though. I swear to God, I'm about to get in so much shape. Oh God. That's the only way you can stop me from eating hamburgers is put me in jail. That's what God said. I'm gonna stop you eating hamburgers and put you in jail. You don't want to stop eating hamburgers and Cheetos? You're going to jail. So now I'm gonna come to rock.
And he was convicted in November of 2023 in an alleged scheme to defraud the league's healthcare benefits plan, the NBA's healthcare benefits plan. Could you imagine needing to go to jail in order to stop eating hamburgers and Cheetos? And not only just to go to jail, okay, maybe you go to jail for a month, all right, you get in some good shape. He's there for 40 months. That's when he got convicted, 40 months. So maybe he gets out for good behavior or something like that. But we're talking about 3+ years. That's wild to me. Absolutely wild to me. Let's go to Anthony Edwards. Did he look up to Jamal Murray or any of the Nuggets? Here we go.
Hey, you talked in that Phoenix series a lot about the way you saw Kevin and how that motivated you. And at your age, it's got to be fun to see all these OGs right in front of you. Is there anything like that in this series? Like what's your...
Nah, these guys 3-4 years older than me, man, yeah.
I mean, Jamal been around for a minute. Is that a guy that you've been tracking at all?
Hell no. Like I said, what is he, 27? I'm finna turn 23, dog. Yeah. KD 36, 35. Yeah. Come on, man. There's no disrespect to Jamal. I don't know what you're trying to start, but yeah, he's not at all.
So there's a lot of people that are stupid in the media. And I've been in a lot of these press conferences. Like, there's a lot of talk show hosts that don't go to press conferences. I enjoy going to games and going to press conferences. And a lot of times in the playoffs, there's like cheesy newspaper writers or TV reporters that are trying to do a stand-up. And the question I hate the most is, someone wins, hey, how does it feel to go to the NBA Finals? But sometimes when you're writing a story, you're trying to get quotes for your intent purpose of the story. So you ask a specifically worded question. What story is that person writing or doing where they think that Anthony Edwards is looking up to anybody on this Nuggets team? Like, I would understand if it was last series going up against KD, or if they were going up against the Lakers and it's LeBron, or even Steph Curry. But to do this story now, and I'm sure it's about Anthony Edwards being a younger player, like the face of the league, but to make it as if he's looking up to Nikola Jokic, who's not even 30 yet, or Jamal Murray, who's, 27? That's just stupid. And it's a bad look for all of us involved in the media. When you have stupid people that write stupid stories, and they think they're on to something, and then the athlete just goes, this is just dumb. So good on Anthony Edwards. Josh Hart, I love him. Rick Carlisle kept on saying how the NBA gives preferential treatment to these big market teams over the small market teams. Here is Josh Hart's response to that.
No, that's so stupid, bro. I mean, we gonna say the big market always wins. Niggas ain't won a chip in 51 years. So obviously, that don't really hold much weight. So I don't fully understand that. Sorry, New York, for the reminder. But I think that's just idiotic. At the end of the day, it's who's playing the best, and that's I've never seen a ref, shoot a free throw or make a three or miss a rotation.
It's all timing. If Carlisle would have said what he said after game one, no one kills him. But after game two, when the officials weren't the story, the only one that actually believes what Carlisle is saying are some of those dopey Indiana Pacer fans. Let's go to Artemi Panarin's game-winning goal last night. This was awesome. Sam Rosen on the Rangers radio network. I'll set the stage for you. Rangers up 2-0. They're going to Carolina, which, by the way, all I hear about are how great those Carolina Hurricanes fans are. That was a Rangers home game last night on the road in game 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the second round. Hurricanes make a goaltender change. They did strike first. Rangers tied up the game shorthanded. They did take a 2-1 lead with about 90 seconds to go. The Hurricanes pull the goalie. They tie it up, Svechnikov, and then in overtime, after having double overtime in game 2, in overtime, this was a quick ender by Artemi Panarin as the bread man did deliver.
Round the boards it goes. Missed by Orlov. Played it. Score! Score! Yes! Yes! The Rangers win it in overtime and lead the series 3-0.
That was former captain, Rangers captain Dave Maloney, who stepped all on the toes of one Sam Rosen. And I know some people that are like traditional broadcasters will have an issue with that. I don't. Because everything that Dave Maloney just said, yeah, score, score, is the way that I sounded in my apartment last night. The Dallas Stars in game 1 against the Colorado Avalanche were up 3-0. They blew the game. They lost in overtime 4-3 in game 2. Not only did Dallas take a 3-0 lead once again, but then they made it a 4-0 lead when they got this shorthanded goal. Let's listen up to the Dallas Stars radio network.
Ben takes off his lane. Number shorthanded for Dallas. Harley leads with Ben. Harley save Georgiev. The rebound bounces out in front. Score! Tyler Seguin! An Avs power play to try and get back into the game, and instead Seguin and the Stars extended to their largest lead of the series.
And then for a little bit you thought, okay, this game was going to get good in the third, as it did get to 4-3 at one point, but then Dallas did get the empty net goal to win 5-3, and now that series is all tied up at 1 apiece. Finally, let's hear Byron Scott on who should be the next Lakers head coach. This is courtesy of FS1 and Undisputed.
Make LeBron the coach.
Let him be the player coach.
Make him the coach. It's obvious to me, at least, that he's making a lot of decisions that's going on in this organization. So if you're going to allow him to make those decisions, all right, sit on the bench and make those decisions as well. Be the head coach. As far as I'm concerned, the only person that he's going to really trust is himself. And since you're making a lot of these decisions anyway, why not put him in that seat?
It will never happen, but I'm 100% with Byron Scott. LeBron James should be the next coach of the Lakers. It will probably be J.J. Redick. It looks like Mike Budenholzer is going to be the next coach of the Phoenix Suns. I think they're going to hire who LeBron wants. And Ty Lue's not going there. Jason Kidd's not going there. We know that. And J.J. Redick didn't get the Hornets job. I think LeBron's going to make a push for J.J. Redick. And it feels like the Lakers are going to do everything this offseason to make sure LeBron gets what he wants, whether that's drafting Bronny, whether that's getting to pick the next head coach. So when he opts out, he re-signs with the Los Angeles Lakers. Because it really doesn't matter who the coach is. LeBron is the coach of the team. So just make him the damn coach. Like, Stu, would you be fine if they just said LeBron, he's the next head coach of the team because he's basically coaching the team anyway?
Bingo. He already is. So what's the difference if he's make him the official coach then? Yeah, I agree.
And could you I don't want to steal his thunder probably on his first weekend as the Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday host here on the network on the weekend overnights. But I bet you Shep will have that take too. And it'll be like, imagine the legacy of LeBron James if he becomes a player coach and wins a championship. Could you imagine? Jordan didn't do that. What would that do for the legacy of LeBron James? 855-212-4227. This is the Good Shepherd right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Take a timeout. We'll do a little draft quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, and away we go. Hour number 2 of our radio program on this Friday. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Coming up 20 minutes from now, former NBA player, currently a Rockets TV analyst, Ryan Hollins, is going to stop by. But I want to do this exercise first. I want to do a draft. Stu, Samter, yours truly. We're going to make 5 picks each. The next 15 quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. Now, let me be clear. Patrick Mahomes is eligible. Like, guys that have already won are still eligible. It's just the next 15 quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. So whenever Stu is ready, cue up the NFL music, and we will get underway. Samter and Stu, heads or tails? Who wants to call
Heads.
it? All righty. If it's heads, we give the call to Samter. If it's tails, we give the call to Stu. It is heads. What pick do you want?
First pick.
You want the first pick. All righty. Stu, heads or tails?
Heads.
It is tails. I'll take the second pick. I want to be smacked right in the middle here. And then Stu will go third. All righty. Samter, fire away. Who are you going with?
I mean, do you even have to ask?
No, I'm going to ask anyway.
Mahizzles.
Who?
Patrick Mahizzles of Holmesies.
Who?
The quarterback of the greatest team in the history of football, the
Kansas. Tom Brady's coming back?
City Chiefs.
So you're taking Patrick Mahizzle.
Mahizzles.
Okay, so I'll take Patrick Mahomes with the second pick. All right, so Samter goes Patrick Mahomes. I will go Joe Burrow. Stu?
I will go Josh Allen.
Okie dokie. Now, Stu, this is a snake. We go back to you.
Back to me. I will go CJ Stroud.
Good job. All righty, so my next pick, with already having Mahomes off the board, then having Joe Burrow off the board, Josh Allen and CJ Stroud. So the next pick that I'm going to go with, Jalen Hurts. I will take Jalen Hurts. Samter?
All right, so I got Snake. I'm going Brock Purdy because those 49ers are on the verge, and I
consider Brock.
Yeah, and I'm going two-time. Now, the only issue with Brock Purdy, this is the question, is if they don't win it this year, there's a lot of contract questions coming up. So will that roster continue to be as dominant as it's been?
That's fair.
But I still think that Brock Purdy has a great chance. I'm going Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP after that.
You will go with Lamar Jackson. So now we go back to your boy. Considering Matthew Stafford, I'm not going to go with him. You know who I'm going to go with here? I'm going to take. I'll take Jordan Love. I'll go with Jordan Love here. The Packers usually find a way to get a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Super Bowl champion. Stu, who's your next pick?
My next pick is Jared Goff. I think the Lions are up and coming. I could see them winning a Super Bowl in the next few years. So that's my first pick. My second pick is Kirk Cousins.
Wow!
It's going to have to be quick. It's going to have to be probably in the next 2 years.
Kirk Cousins!
But the Falcons in the NFC, I could see that being a thing this year or next year.
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
Holy smokes. I want to take Justin Herbert here. And you have Jim Harbaugh. But are the Chargers really ever going to get over the hump? Are they really ever going to get over the hump? I'll go Shador. No, I'm just kidding. So this is my last. No, this is my. I have two more picks. So Herbert would be good value here. You know what? I'm thinking of someone else. I'm going to rely that he's still going to be there. So I will hold off. I will go Justin Herbert just based off the value here with the talent.
I don't know if you saw it when you were asking, will the Chargers ever get over the hump? I'm like shaking my head. No, there's no chance. Because I wanted to take Justin Herbert.
That was your poker face.
I was trying real hard to convince you.
All right, Lady Gaga, you give a little poker face. So do this, Samter. Give me one pick here. I know you're giving two, but just give me one pick because I probably want to react to it.
I'm going Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams.
I didn't think he was going to get taken by you. Because just when you first get in the league, I know this is the next 15 quarterbacks. I didn't think Samter was going to have that foresight. So then I elected not to pick him on that one. So that's a good pick. That would have been my next pick. You would have taken Herbert, you said?
I would have, in the snake, I would have gone Herbert Caleb. Unless you went Caleb, I would have gone Herbert with somebody else.
Okay, so at least I did take one of your guys away. That's
yeah.
All right, who's the next
were my
guy?
Next two.
And real quickly, before we all make our last pick, so far, Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams to Samter. I have Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert. Stu has Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins. Who doesn't belong on that list? You like that? You like that? All righty, Samter. Take us home here.
So I'm battling between a few, right? There's a guy who has maybe a year to make a splash. I don't think it's going to happen. You got a guy who's a regular season champ but can never do it in the playoffs. I'm not confident in him. Got another guy who's really old, but his team seems to maybe be on the rise, but also maybe not be. I'm not going to take him. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. Here's a guy who, when he's healthy, I think is an elite level quarterback, but he's just never healthy. If he can stay healthy, I like their coach. I love the receiver they just gave him. They have a chance of being very good. I'm going Kyler Murray of the Arizona Football Cardinals. I had him and another name that I was.
I think you're going Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not going to lie there.
I wasn't going Tua. I don't have faith yet in Tua. There's another name I wanted to throw out there, but I'm just not confident in his team enough yet.
I am going to throw out a player that most of us have never seen actually play. But he is talked about a lot. And he's not even in the NFL yet. And he hasn't even started a full season yet in college. I am going to go with the lineage. The Manning lineage. And for my last pick, because I do not trust Dak Prescott to get the job done, there's one name that I'll see if Stu takes it, and I'm fascinated by if Stu will take it or not, so I will not throw that name out there. But I will go with horns up, not horns down. I don't want to offend anyone with the Texans, with Texas. You know, Brian Jones will be on the line right now. Punch me through the face through the phone. I will take Arch Manning.
That's actually a smart pick, especially doing it over Quinn Ewers. Very interesting.
And also, we're talking about the next 15 quarterbacks to win. Brady's kid, does he play football? Maybe we'll draft him. All righty, Stu, who's your final pick here?
All right, a few options here. I will go with Tua. I think if he is healthy, I kind of like the coach. I like the team. I like the receivers that are around him. The health is really the only concern. Obviously, you want to see him do it in the playoffs, but of all the guys left, I trust Tua in that system more than the others.
So here are the picks in the order. Samter goes Mahomes. I go Burrow. Stu goes Josh Allen. Then Stu takes C.J. Stroud. I go Jalen Hurts. Samter goes Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson. I then take Jordan Love. Stu then takes Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. I then go Justin Herbert. Samter then goes Caleb Williams and Kyler Murray. I then go Arch Manning. And then Stu wraps it up with Tua Tagovailoa. Let me just throw out two names here. Did anyone consider, yes or no, Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
You did consider.
For my last pick, he was one of the two guys I considered.
Samter, did that ever cross your mind?
I had him on my list, but not above any of the names that were picked. Maybe above Cousins, I would have taken him, but no other name would I have taken him above.
And isn't that funny just where the stock is of Trevor Lawrence right now? Where it's a great unknown. Where if we did this like 3 years ago, I think someone would have taken Trevor Lawrence because he was hyped up to be that guy. Year one was a disaster with Urban Meyer. Then year two, they got to the second round of the playoffs in year one of Doug Peterson. And then last year he got hurt. I really did contemplate Trevor Lawrence. I did, because you have a Super Bowl winning coach and you still have a quarterback that I think will end up playing better. But that division's getting very good inside the AFC South. Now, the other name, and I think this is very telling too, could be going to a new team after this year, or it could be signing a long-term extension. Where was the consideration for Dak Prescott? I'll start with Samter.
I considered Dak over Kyler, but for me, at the end, it was either going to be Kyler, Dak, or Jaden Daniels. But I just don't have faith in the Commanders as a franchise. But I think Jaden Daniels will be
even with Snyder out?
Yeah, because even with Snyder out, they seem to be making a lot of very odd decisions or weird moves, and there's a lot of question marks still there. It's not,
I like the Peters hire.
It's not what it was, but there's still a lot of smoke around that Commanders franchise. So, but Dak and Jaden were kind of in that same zone for me.
So let me just ask you guys this. Let's just do Dak or this QB real quickly. For this exercise, would you have rather gone with Dak or Aaron Rodgers? Samter.
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I agree as well, which is crazy. An impossible task to win a Super Bowl with the Jets. But it's also an impossible task to win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys.
It's absolutely going to happen now that I'm not a Jets fan anymore. Like, after 40 years of being a fan, they're absolutely going to win it the year that I'm rooting for the Chiefs.
Drake May or Dak?
Dak.
Dak.
You guys think I'm going with Dak?
I mean, I think your fandom tinfoil hat will convince you to go with Drake May, but
no,
I
would go with Dak.
Okay.
But I've been listening to a lot of Drake May interviews. I like what I'm hearing. Deshaun Watson or Dak?
Dak.
I think Dak too, yeah.
I'm taking Aiden O'Connell over Deshaun Watson. I have zero.
That's just stupid.
I have zero faith.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I have zero faith in Deshaun Watson.
That's really dumb.
He hasn't been an elite level quarterback in 4 years.
I know, but Aiden O'Connell will never have one season that Deshaun Watson worst season is.
Deshaun Watson might have better seasons statistically than Aiden O'Connell.
At least for the Raiders, dude.
But I just don't have faith in Deshaun Watson, and that Browns team is built to win now, and they don't win in the next year or two. Like, eventually, the Piper's going to come for the payment, and they're not going to be able to afford the rest of that roster.
I think the upside's higher for Watson over Dak, so I would go Watson, even though I've been very critical of Watson. Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson or Dak?
Dak. Well,
No, you already gave the answer. Stu?
That's a good one. I think Dak. I think Dak. I don't trust
Dak.
Russ.
Russ could get benched by week 9
But
for
you
Justin
know,
Fields if he's not returning kicks.
The Steelers were making the playoffs with like Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. If Russell Wilson is at least a shell of what those
like
guys
2 years left of being a solid quarterback.
Yeah, but a solid quarterback with that defense. If TJ Watt is healthy with that defense and obviously like the talent they have on the offensive side of the ball now, like that's a team that could do something.
To be clear, this is long term. This exercise as well.
No, but we're saying like who's going to win the Super Bowl next?
I understand that, but I'm just saying like you also got to think long term too. Like, hey, we just all said Rodgers over Dak. Dak's going to play longer than Rodgers.
Right, but we also don't know Dak might be off the Cowboys.
Can you let me finish the thought? I'm setting it up for the next name and the next team.
I'm just saying with Dak,
it's the Colts. I would go Anthony Richardson and his future over Dak. Samter.
Dak.
Stu?
Richardson.
Okay. Will Levis or Dak? I will go Dak.
Dak.
Okay. We're not even we can't even give the Raiders like some high school kid.
It's Dak. It's Dak.
Bo Nix or Dak?
Dak.
Dak.
Dak, I agree. I'm just going guys that we did not pick because obviously we know the ones that I'm not going to do Daniel Jones or Dak. It's Dak. Jaden Daniels or Dak?
Jaden
Daniels.
I would go Jaden Daniels too. J.J. McCarthy or Dak to win a Super Bowl?
The Vikings are set up, and I really like O'Connell. I'm going to go J.J.
I'll go Dak.
I would go J.J. as well. Baker Mayfield or Dak to win a Super Bowl?
Dak.
It's a good one.
Man, Dak with the Cowboys, I would go Dak. But again, Dak might be playing for like...
It's just the player.
Yeah. I think it's going to be... I'm going to go Baker.
Interesting. I will go Dak. Saints don't have a long-term quarterback right now.
It's so funny that we gloss over Derek Carr so quickly.
Yeah.
This guy was almost an MVP before he got hurt.
Derek Carr would love to be Dak.
It's so funny though that like we threw out Bro Nix's name, but we won't even throw Derek Carr's name into the mix.
Michael Penix Jr. or Dak?
Oh, Michael Penix Jr. over Kirk Cousins, that's for sure. I think Stu picked the wrong Falcons quarterback.
If Kirk Cousins wins the Super Bowl, Penix is too. So
yeah, that's true.
It's same.
Oh, does that count?
Yeah,
Can you be the backup?
We should have then taken Carson Wentz. He's the backup for the Chiefs.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, I don't know if that counts.
I'll go Michael Penix Jr. Bryce Young or Dak?
Dak.
Yeah, I just don't trust the Panthers franchise, so I'll go Dak. Matthew Stafford to win another Super Bowl or Dak? I will go Stafford.
Me too, Stafford.
Samter? Sorry.
Stafford, but the Aaron Donald thing really scares me away. But that team is so on the rise. They have so many other young defensive linemen that kind of broke out that maybe they can fill that hole a little bit. But man, Stafford's one of those guys. I think he's got 1 or 2 more years left, and they don't do it right now. I don't know if they're ready. They might be, but the Donald thing really screws them.
I think there's a better chance that Stafford wins another Super Bowl in the next 2 years than if Dak plays another 8 years, he wins a Super Bowl.
The only thing, I just look at
if
the
he
Rams.
goes to a different team.
I look at the Rams now. The Rams are not as good as they were, and Stafford is 3 years older than he was the last time. So, like, I guess, but I'm not. I still think Dak maybe.
All righty, we'll take a time out here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Ryan Hollins will join us next as we'll chat a little NBA postseason with him. Where's his concern level for the Boston Celtics?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
We will get to Ryan Hollins in just a second. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. But I want to play this Jason Tatum audio from last night once again because I want Ryan's reaction on it. Here is Jason Tatum after the Celtics did drop Game 2 to the Cavs. The series all tied up at 1 apiece.
I mean, that's the narrative that you might see on TV. The idea that we have a super team. It's twofold, right? We didn't have a Coach of the Year. We didn't have the MVP. We only had 2 All-Stars. So they say we're a super team, but, we didn't get rewarded like we are. We know we got a good team. We're not perfect. We play the right way. more often than not, and we know we got to be better. But, for, I guess, saying people that are spoiled from our success, we don't pay attention to those things. We just go out there and control what we can control.
So that was Jason Tatum last night as the Celtics did drop game 2, and they'll have this series over the weekend go back to Cleveland. Now joining us is Ryan Hollins. Ryan, appreciate the time as always. How you been, my man?
I'm good, brother.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. So you heard that audio that we just played from Jason Tatum. How did you react to it? Because a lot of people have opinions about it today.
I have a problem with it. You got to keep a little bit of that chip on your shoulder to say, hey, we got looked over. I thought we were better than that. We got work to do. I don't have any issue with this mindset. And in all reality, man, the Celtics were so good this year. And they should be frustrated with losing to Cleveland. I don't think it's the end of things, but this is the challenge that we've had with Boston the whole season. They have moments where they look untouchable. You almost want to hand them the NBA championship. And then they have moments where they don't shoot the ball well from three. They struggle to create one-on-one. And Jason Tatum, as great as he is, he can even look uninterested, and be pedestrian in ball games. But when he and Brown and White, play at a high level, man, it's almost untouchable. And he's right. They do play off of a team game. They do, drive and kick offense. The one-on-one drive leads to open shots. They lead themselves defensively. They can really get out and switch screens and, have versatility in their lineup. So they didn't play to par, but we've seen that all season long. And let's see how they meet the challenge. But it's really hard. And Zach, we've been saying this for a couple of years now with Boston. Right when you want to jump on the bandwagon and say, like, they're going to be champs, we're in, we believe in them, they do not come and play the standard and finish well.
Yeah, that's why I don't get what he's so mad about. I know there's so many press availabilities. Like Brad Stevens did win Executive of the Year. I don't think he should have this season. I thought it should have gone to either Sam Presti or Leon Rose. Mazzulla shouldn't have been Coach of the Year. Tatum shouldn't have been MVP. And everyone with the Celtics, Ryan, you even said it. We're at this point. I don't really care what they do in the regular season because it's about getting back to the NBA Finals and hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy. And I looked last night. Last night doesn't change my opinion about them. They're still going to the NBA Finals out of the Eastern Conference, but I can't sit here and say that I'm all that confident that whoever comes out of the West, that they're going to find a way to beat them 4 times in a 7-game series.
It's up in the air. And the reason I can assume you have your hesitation, Zach, and correct me if I'm wrong, we all had Denver. And right now, pound for pound, physically, the Timberwolves are looking like that team. And the challenge that we have with the Timberwolves, correct me if you feel the same way or you don't, is that they struggle offensively. They don't fit all those pieces to the puzzle. They're not perfect pieces. Now, they're darn near perfect defensively. They can get after you. They got bodies to throw at your best player. They got bodies to throw at Nikola Jokic, and he's a 3-time MVP. But they can struggle offensively. And we've seen different Timberwolves teams. But, pound for pound, they're a lot more physical. And, it's interesting. The NBA had been a game of skill when you look at Golden State and the way that they've won, and they've had a lot of success. But lately, it's been the teams that can just out-physical you, outmatch you. Look at Denver's success. If you've seen Boston this year, they're just bigger all the way around. And with Kristaps Porzingis, when he's healthy, they're a different team. And a lot is going to hinge on him being healthy. Maybe they can afford to kind of let him sit out and rest. Denver just beat the crap out of L.A., man. They're just bigger with Nikola Jokic and Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, man. They were just much more physical. So it looks like that's where the team's success is lying. So I think there are more questions than answers, and I think there's still parity in the NBA. I don't think we can just crown Boston. I don't think we can crown, clearly not the Nuggets being down 0-2 in the Timberwolves. We still got to believe in who they are, but I think I'm loving the Timberwolves more than anybody right now.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I love what Anthony Edwards has been able to do, and to win that game, too, without Gobert, and to still put on that defensive clinic was absolutely phenomenal and amazing to watch. Ryan Hollins is here with us. With all that being said, you had the Game 3 tonight, now going back to Minnesota. How much of a chance do you give Denver of coming back and maybe winning this series?
I I give him a huge chance. At the end of the day, world champs aren't going to go away. Now, the struggle is they don't have a chance without Jamal Murray. So with Jamal Murray, they're going to go back. This thing is going to go 7 games. There's no question. But without him, man, this could be an easy 4-1. They're going to be down 3-1 going into this next game, at least at a minimum. And here's the thing. The reason Jamal Murray is important in this series, Minnesota can do what? They can match up with Nikola Jokic. They can throw bodies at them. They're physical, and they don't find the mismatches. Normally you get a mismatch with Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's posting up your guards as the third option, the third option of the offense. You don't get that against the Nuggets. So you need Jamal Murray to open the floor up for Nikola Jokic so that he can hit open threes and he can make plays, or Jamal Murray, who may have to be super and uber aggressive down the stretch. But if that ankle is bad and he can't go, or the calf is bad and he can't go, and he's a shell of himself, man, this series is as good as over.
Did you think it was a mistake by the NBA to not suspend Jamal Murray after he threw a towel at a ref and then threw the heating pad on the court while the game was going on?
I think the NBA got this absolutely correct. And the reason I think they got it right is this is the first time we've seen something like this from Jamal Murray. Now, I think that the second time, he's going to be missing a handful of games if he does it again. But I think right now it was frustration that set in. You don't want to look back, and this is the key, Zach. We've said this before, and I've heard you on the show say you don't want the referees to determine a game, and you, in the same breath, you don't want the NBA to determine a series. So allowing him to play, I think he's been embarrassed enough, and if it happens again, he's going to miss a lot of time on top of the money. And I think the NBA got it right, and I think Jamal will be first to tell you that he made a really silly mistake. And you can say somebody wouldn't have gotten hurt, but all it takes is a wrong slip or step, and somebody could have gotten hurt. So hopefully Jamal can grow and learn from this, and it's shown to be silly enough to not happen again.
Yeah, and I want to be clear here, Ryan Hollins. I thought he should have been suspended for a game. I never during the playoffs advocate for players to be suspended because, like you said, I don't want to see that impact series. But when you do the money sign to the refs, you throw a towel at the officials and a heating pad on the court, that was just too much for me. But the NBA elected not to suspend him, and they ended up fining him $100,000. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this. Mike Malone ran in the face of an official.
Not wrong.
Here's the thing what I like about the league right now. There's a lot of emotions. The competitive level's high. We got great series. We're going to have a new champ crowned this year. And when I say new, I say new territory. So if Nikola Jokic wins a second NBA championship, he's going to be in these GOAT conversations. He's going to be spoken about in a completely different light. If it's Anthony Edwards, he's going to have a fast track to be in the face of the league. If it's Jason Tatum, this is the only thing that Jason Tatum hasn't done. So we're going to have a new champ that we can get behind. And this is so important, Zach. I've heard you've been spitting about this on the show. Who's going to be the face of the league? Who's going to take the torch from LeBron? So we're going to get that step this year in the right direction. It's not Steph Curry coming out and doing something again. We're going to have a new face in which we can rally behind.
Nikola Jokic won his third MVP the other night. I would have liked to have seen SGA or Jalen Brunson win the award. Who do you think should have been the MVP this year?
My heart was with SGA, but my head and my logic was with Nikola Jokic. Now, here's the tough thing for Nikola Jokic in the league. Nikola could give a darn if he wins the MVP or not. He's not going to be in tears. He's not going to be thanking his mother on the platform. He's not going to be shouting out his high school coach and everything. He's going to get right back to playing basketball. It is tough. But statistically, what he does is important to Denver. He's the center, the shot blocker, the point guard. There are moments where he leads the Nuggets in every statistical category on top of them having an incredibly successful year. So he deserved it by the numbers. Now, the challenge is with coming into play and where the Jokic haters are coming, and believe you me, I've been one of them, is it good for the game? What's the criteria? of the MVP, where does it go? But if you've seen what he does and what he means to the team, there's no other player in the league that does what he does. It's unbelievable, and it's just it's the oddest thing. He's built like a sack of potatoes, but the guy goes out and balls, and he just absolutely dominates. So he absolutely deserved the award. But I would have been excited because it would have been big for Shea, and you could have got behind him, and the excitement would have been there. But he wasn't the MVP over Jokic.
Wait, you've been a Nikola Jokic hater before? Did I catch that right?
Of course, I was Team Embiid. Embiid
Oh,
was
were
the MVP until MVP. He got hurt. He hadn't been available. Come on, Zach. The best ability is availability. I was Team Embiid, man.
Gotcha. Ryan Hollins here with us. Talking about availability, Luka Doncic is playing. Game one, that knee sprain clearly impacted him last night. Not so much. When you look at Thunder and Mavericks, is it the health of Luka's knee that will ultimately determine this, or is it something else?
It's funny, man. Before we saw over in Houston, before we saw Dallas, it was a big game. It was actually the game that really knocked the Rockets out of the play-in because the Rockets came on like wildfire. Zach, everyone saw what my guys were doing. And Luka was questionable into the game. His knee was sore. We didn't know if Luka was going to play. And Luka goes on to just drop I don't know if it was 50. It may have been 47, Zach. Could have been 50. It was 47 with like 10 minutes to go. He shoots a shot off of the Jumbotron that went in. I can't make it up. I'm sure everyone saw it. And to say what I'm saying is that his knee's been sore for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay? I ain't worried about the knee. I expect him to play. And if he sits out, yeah, of course. The Mavericks are toast. There's no question there. But I bring that up to say I don't expect this dude to sit out. He's going to play through whatever it is on that knee.
I don't think he's going to sit out, but it's just how effective can he still be,
He plays in slow motion. It's not like we're asking Dwight Howard, are you going to block shots with a torn up knee? No, he's going to be a little sore. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not asking a guy. This guy moves in slow motion. Him and Jokic could play on a sore knee and drop a 50 ball because they don't jump higher than actually, young fella has some bounce. He's not Jokic, but these guys do not depend on their athleticism. They play just at their own pace, at their own speed, and they don't even jump in moments. I've seen Luka just shoot grandpa shots at the rim sometimes, so he can still be very effective. And at the same note, from on the other side, these are the things we're saying in the locker room. Go test him defensively. See how that knee feels. How does he feel pushing off, going to his left? So beat him, put him in plays where you have to try that knee out and attack him and make him have to work. So that would be the game plan on the other end.
Wrapping up with Ryan Hollins. Pacers and Knicks. OG Anunoby out tonight. Knicks are up 2-0 in this series. How much of a chance do you give the Pacers to take the 2 on their home court and send this back to MSG for a Game 5 all tied up at 2 apiece?
I think the Pacers get another one. That means Pascal Siakam is going to have a field day. He matches up excellent with Pascal Siakam. And OG has been playing career basketball, man. He has been tearing things up. And he's been a real X factor for the Knicks. If you got a chance to really watch New York this year, he was the piece that they missed, that big defender who could hit a corner three and doesn't need the basketball in his hand. So I think Indy takes this one.
So you think they win tonight, but do they take both 3 and 4, or do you think the Knicks get
1-1? Oh, no. Okay. Oh, no. Hit the Buffalo Wild Wings button, man. We need 7 out of this one.
Last thing I'll ask you. Next coach of the Lakers. I think it's going to be J.J. Redick. How about you?
Man, I think there's a strong chance. I think everybody's laughing and hee-hee and ha-ha at the idea of J.J. Redick. 2 words, and I'm sure you're fond of this name, Zach. Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's been very successful. Stickler for the game, knows how to talk. I played with JJ. I think he would be an excellent candidate, and that's the way that the league is trending towards. So hats off to JJ. It would not surprise me at all, and I think he's ready for a moment like this, man.
Well, I'll give you 2 words. LeBron James. Let's just be real, right? LeBron James wants J.J. Redick as the coach. He'll probably be the next coach. That's the way I think about it.
Yeah, and you know what they may do? They may match up JJ's contract with LeBron's contract. And, LeBron has played at a high enough level that he still definitely has that type of say. But I think J.J. Redick deserves his flowers, too. So I think it can be much more than a LeBron move, but it doesn't hurt to have someone advocating for you that is one of the greatest, if not the greatest ever. We'll have that debate later, Zach.
He is Ryan Hollins. Ryan, have a great weekend. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Anytime, brother.
There you go. Ryan Hollins joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, you got to hear this sound from the Luka Doncic press conference last night. I've never heard anything like this at a press conference. Just absolutely wild. Update time first. Here's the Ackman Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Suns are moving quickly to find Frank Vogel's replacement, reportedly closing in with a deal with Mike Budenholzer, which would be a homecoming for the 54-year-old whose father was a successful high school coach in Arizona. The deal expected to be worth $10 million annually. The defending champs are on the ropes right now, down 2-0. Denver dropped the first 2 games at home to the Timberwolves, and now the series moves to Minnesota for tonight's Game 3. Considering their experience, it's been odd to see Michael Malone and his crew lose their composure, but the head coach said now is the time they need to dig in and stay together.
Things got tough. We just kind of fell apart and kind of separated. And that's, as we all know, you can't do that. That's when you have to come together, help each other, and support each other.
The first game of the night features the Knicks and Pacers in Indiana. In Game 3, Rick Carlisle drew a $35,000 fine for questioning the officials. The NBA said it was for questioning the integrity of the league and its officials. And former Major Leaguer Sean Burroughs has passed away. He was just 43. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
This week's NASCAR preview is brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's new Cinnabon pull aparts is here to satisfy your sweet morning cravings. Get your day off to a sweet start with Cinnabon pull apart only at participating U.S. Wendy's. This week's race takes place Sunday at the Darlington Raceway. Denny Hamlin leads all active drivers with 4 wins and 12 top 5s at Darlington. Alrighty, I gotta play you this audio. I thought it was fake when I first heard it, but this was actually live at the press conference last night. Here is Luka Doncic and some others at the podium.
Just our sharing the ball and our energy was great.
What do you think? Okay, moving on.
I hope that's not live.
So you can hear it faintly in the background. He gets ready to do the press conference, and then there is some moaning going on in the background. Now, I think we've all been in that like juvenile state, kind of, where pranking your friends, and you may make a noise like that, like when you were in high school, when someone's trying to speak or do something. If that was like a player doing that to distract Luka, we would have known about it. Someone would have seen the player. But as crazy as this sounds, I don't know if there's some Bluetooth setting at the podium. Maybe someone in the media or someone in the tech department there was just watching little pornography. Trying to see how we were going to make that clean for the radio. They were watching a little porn, and the next thing you know, somehow their device got connected to whatever Bluetooth is at the podium. Like, that's the only thing I could think of, Samter, if it wasn't necessarily just someone making those noises in the background and just kind of pull like a prank on Luka Doncic.
I was kind of hoping that it was some fans who snuck down into the underbelly of the arena and were just kind of, enjoying themselves.
Well, oh, you thought it was that way.
That's what I was kind of hoping. Like, hey, get at it.
Thunder fans lose that game. They're trying to blow off some steam, so have a little nookie time. in the back of the press conference room.
Why not, baby?
Well, we had someone prank call us like a few weeks ago, remember? There's some jackass kid that was just making those noises. And I go, that's what you're pranking in the year of 2024? Like, out of all the things you could do to prank, that's a level you're going to go to. You could do a lot better prank than that. But anyway, it got me thinking. Not that that's like an all-time great press conference moment. It's just funny. But what's your favorite press conference moment? For me, it's the former Colorado coach, Dan Hawkins. This is my favorite rant at a press conference. And really, this was amplified. Remember that show, Best Damn Sports Show, period, with Chris Rose and John Sally and a few other people that were on that show?
Dibble, I think, was one of the guys.
Yeah, Rob Dibble was definitely on that. But this was Dan Hawkins, and you can't find the original audio anywhere. It's always on Best Damn Sports Show, period, so you hear them laughing a little bit in the background. They were playing it on their show all those years ago.
I got an anonymous letter from a parent. Said, we're just kind of bummed out this year that the boys only get 2 weeks off before they start their summer conditioning program. Okay? It's Division I football! It's the Big 12! It ain't intramurals! You got 2 weeks after finals, you got a week in July 4th, and you got a week before camp starts. That's a month! That's probably more vacation than you guys get. And we're a little bummed out that we don't get 3 weeks. Go play intramurals, brother. Go play intramurals.
So that's my favorite press conference moment of just a coach losing his mind or a player losing his mind. Dan Hawkins back when he coached Colorado. Santer, what's yours?
I mean, I was deciding between two, and as Stu and I were kind of, figuring it out, I asked Stu what his was, and he took one of my two, so it was a pretty easy selection for mine. And this is one of the classics, and it was just such a great rant, passionate and empowering at the same time. So this guy right here, Mr. Mike Gundy.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday. And you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage, attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me. Don't write about a kid that does everything right, that's heart's broken, and then say that the coaches said he was scared. That ain't true. And then to say that we made that decision because Donovan Woods, because he threatened to transfer, that's not true.
That's an all-timer. Those are honestly my two favorite. I was between Gundy or I was between Dan Hawkins. I thought the Hawkins one's a little bit more obscure, and my favorite part about it is just go play intramurals, brother. Go play intramurals. But the I'm a man, I'm 40 is an all-time moment. Stu, yours isn't John Chaney, correct, Amundo?
It is not.
Okay, because Large in Parks does bring up a great one in the YouTube chat. He thought mine was going to be John Chaney when he literally attacked Calipari. And he's like, I'm going to kick your ass. I asked Chaney about that all those years later before he passed away. And they actually became very close friends later on in life, Chaney and Calipari. And Chaney made the joke how he just waited for him after a game one night in a dark alley, kicked his ass. And that's how they became friends, which clearly he was joking, but wouldn't surprise anybody if John Chaney actually did that. So who's yours, Stu?
Mine is from 2006 after the Cardinals blew a huge lead.
We could not have done a better exercise of this. Because I know some people will say, playoffs? You're going to make up playoffs? I just hope we win a game. Like, some people will say that, but these are, I said my two favorite, that was between, the Denny Green would have been the third. I am very proud of us right here.
The Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in the preseason like it's bullshit? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
I haven't heard that in a while. When Denny Green passed away, obviously you heard it. But my favorite part about that it's not just the Bears are who we thought they were. He's like smacks the mic and he goes, "If we're gonna crown them, we're gonna crown their asses."
Yeah. If you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Tommy Lasorda and Samter would have to use every bleep in America, but he's had some all-time great rants too. Like 500 F-bombs in about a minute. If you recall.
Hal McRae had a good one. If you remember the Royals manager where he went off and he started throwing phones at reporters. But just an interesting note about the Denny Green one. I almost went with it because I was at that game.
That was preseason, right?
No.
It wasn't preseason?
No, it was like week 5, week 6. The Bears were like
preseason.
The Bears were like 5-0 and they were rolling in that season. And the Cardinals had like a 3-touchdown lead with Matt Leinart at the quarterback.
Yeah.
And they blew this huge lead, including like a terrible fumble return for a touchdown. And this was like this Bears team with Rex Grossman. They ended up going to the Super Bowl that year, the Bears. But like they started the season as like this dominant team that everyone was comparing to be one of the best all-time teams, that no one could beat them, and the Cardinals were destroying them.
Oh, no, he mentions the preseason in the rant. That's why my brain went to preseason.
Yeah, because I think they played in the preseason that year too. But that game was incredible, and the Cardinals blew it on Monday Night Football with Matt Leinart, their newly anointed top 10 quarterback that was supposed to change the entire franchise.
And you were there?
I was at that game, and I remember actually watching that press conference on the big screen because I actually had to stay late after the game because I worked for the team, and I'm watching that press conference on the big screen while I was out down on the field.
You're getting
crazy.
You're getting roasted in this YouTube chat, by the way.
Uh-oh. About what?
Two-Tone Tony said, yeah, Samter was there. He was the mascot. That's not nice.
The mascot?
They thought you were dressed up as the mascot. Well, that's why you were always at these Cardinals.
I'd be very happy to be. Do you know how much money mascots make for professional sports teams?
Do they make good money?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Like stupid kinds of money.
Every time I look down today, I feel like you're getting roasted in this
They can roast me all they want. If they want me to be a mascot, I'm too short to be a mascot. But those guys make bank.
Well, some thought you were the jockey for Secretariat, too.
That I can do. I'm too young for that, but I'll be a jockey.
All right, we will take a timeout. We'll come on back when we do return. The EA Sports College Football cover is here. Who are the most 5 intriguing names for college football this season?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Growing up as a kid, I always enjoyed playing sports video games. I don't play a lot of video games anymore. I will occasionally play Madden here or there if I'm at like a buddy's house or something like that. And, you know, we got bored, nothing to do or something like that. You know, a little Major League Baseball, The Show. One of my friends loves that, so I'll sometimes play that. But for the most part, I don't play many video games anymore. I will go out of my way, though, when College Football 25 is released to get that video game. I loved the college sports video games as a kid. I would always create in basketball and football. Well, in basketball, I created the player. In football, you would create the coach. And those college football video games, EA Sports, it's in the game. They would always come on back during the pandemic when you had Big Cat from Barstool create a large coach, and that person looked like that guy Doug's that they hired. I don't think he works at Barstool anymore. And they just randomly, this guy had a career for himself because Big Cat during the pandemic, it's one of the wildest stories ever. Big Cat bored during a pandemic creates a college football coach. This guy, Doug's, looks like him. And then he launched like a 3-year career for himself at Barstool. But with NIL, the College Football 25 with EA Sports is coming back. And every player who opts in to this and gets selected for the game will receive $600 and a copy of the game. So they just released the cover earlier today. I have a few takeaways with the cover. So there are 6 players that are, you could see their name and you could fully see them on the cover. You have a Notre Dame player, you can't make out who it is, and a USC player, you can't make out who it is. And I think it's a Clemson player too. But You have Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Travis Hunter, Donovan Edwards, and Quinshon Judkins, who came over from Ole Miss, had like almost 3,000 yards in like 28 games, and now is transferred over to the Ohio State. There's two names on there that I was not expecting to be on there. And they're the two running backs. Like, Donovan Edwards is the featured part of this video game. I like Donovan Edwards a lot. He had an awesome national championship game 2 years ago, had a really great season. Last year, up until the national championship game, he was very disappointing. Now, he's going to be the main part of their offense this year. But when I saw this cover, which looks awesome, by the way, it's all these guys running out of the tunnel. You got a bunch of players in front of them, the feature players like we discussed, and a few school flags as well. I see a Nebraska flag in there. It looks like, is that a Wazoo flag? It's kind of tough to tell with the smoke. So you have a few flags that are out there and these players running out of a tunnel. But Samter, I was not expecting, and I'm a Michigan guy, and I like Michigan, right? I root for Michigan. But Mike, I was not expecting Donovan Edwards to be on the cover of College Football 25 whatsoever.
Well, I mean, I think the whole point is team over individual. He's a great player on the team that's the reigning national champions. Because, like, the bigger names...
Who else would you have put on? Like, you could have...
you could put Shedeur Sanders on there. The fact that Travis Hunter was the guy that they chose from Colorado, I thought was
you know what?
interesting.
From a video game standpoint, if I want to play with one player in a video game in college football, it's Travis Hunter. As a wide receiver and then also a defensive back. And I'm sure you could, like, move him around, maybe even put him a little bit as a running back to do trick plays in the goal line. He's like what Jabril Peppers wanted to be. Like what Jabril Peppers, they tried to make him at Michigan. What Travis Hunter does and how much they use him on offense and he's able to go both ways is just absolutely insane. He would be the player from a video game standpoint I'd want to use.
And for EA Sports, they want to cover all the Power Fives. So they don't really have the ACC, but you kind of see the Clemson helmet in the background. Yeah. They don't clearly have, there's no Pac-12 anymore, but Big Ten, you've got Michigan, Ohio State. The Big 12 representative is Colorado, which is funny to me. They're
true because Texas now in the SEC.
Yeah, so you got Texas, Alabama, and Georgia as the SEC. So I think, having Donovan Edwards, it's more of a representation of, hey, here's the champions. Let's put respect on the champion's name. Who's the one guy who people are going to know from Michigan who's coming back, and it's Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't do the wide receiver from Ohio State, but, okay, that's fine.
You can't put Ohio State as they weren't even in the playoff. You can't put Ohio State as the feature player on the first ever.
No, I'm not saying as a feature player, but he's there.
Yeah, but you have Judkins. I think Judkins is expected to be the better player.
He's supposed to have a huge season, but Emeka Egbuka, everyone knows who that guy is, and he's right in that next line of that great Ohio State wide receiver, and he's been there the last 2 years.
And TreVeyon Henderson, who's been there for a while, too. I'm surprised that they would go Judkins over Henderson.
Well, hey, you look at it from Ole Miss coming over to big SEC country, guy had nearly 3,000 yards in 26, 27 games, whatever the stat was that I read. So I was not expecting those two guys to be on it, but the more you say it, it's like we just went through a great era of Michigan football. Could you have gone with a corner like a Will Johnson? Sure. He's going to be a top 5 pick, probably top 10 pick in the draft. But offense is pretty much what sells now. We know that, especially with the video game. So the player recognition for Michigan and Ohio State from a video game, it's really been the last few years. And you're not going to include the guys the last few years because they're now off into the NFL. Now, I will say, Quinn Ewers being in there, love it. Jalen Milroe makes sense. And I like Travis Hunter being in there as well. I cannot wait for this video game to come out. But let's do this, though. Entering this season, who are the 5 most intriguing names in college football? So, tied for one of them is Deion and Shedeur Sanders. Going into this year, I know their schedule is not as brutal as what people would think, even with the conference change now in the Big 12. Whether you think they're going to be successful or not, it's a totally different conversation. But in terms of intriguing names, the Sanders family is always intriguing Because not only do you have Coach Prime, but then you have the son who could be the first quarterback off the board in the 2025 NFL draft. This guy does not like the attention, but Kalen DeBoer is also the most intriguing name, or one of the more intriguing names entering this college football season. And it's kind of two reasons. One, he's the guy replacing Nick Saban. And two, he's an offensive-minded head coach who's had an abundance of success at Fresno State, which then got him the Washington job. They were in the Natty last year. Look what he did for Michael Penix Jr.'s career. They were together a little bit at Indiana, but then he goes to Washington, and he gave you pretty much 2 seasons that were good enough to be considered, or at least should have been considered, for the Heisman Trophy. 2 years ago, didn't get the invite. Last year, got the invite, was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. Now you pair DeBoer up with Jalen Milroe, who, to start last season, they pulled him off the field, and then they quickly put him back on, and then we got to see down the stretch Jalen Milroe improve as the season did go on, and you wonder, what's the next step that Kalen DeBoer provides for a Jalen Milroe?
The one thing I'll say is, like, when we think about coaching-wise, to me, the most intriguing coaching name is Sharon Moore at Michigan. I think that program, there's so many interesting questions, national champions coming up. Like with DeBoer, we know that he's had a proven track record. He's following a legend, the GOAT. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like the pressure is on him right away, because there's this expectation of there being some sort of a carryover, and people think that he'll eventually right the ship.
He's got to make the playoffs in year one.
Oh, for sure.
If he doesn't make the playoffs, see, that's a tough part. You're now replacing, like, Sharon Moore is replacing Jim Harbaugh. You have Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban. If it was just a 4-team playoff, I think most reasonable fans, which could be an oxymoron at times, would say, yeah, you missed the playoff in a 4-team playoff, not the end of the world in year one. You miss it in a 12-team playoff for both those coaches, that would be a brutal look. I don't go Sharon Moore. And maybe it's just because it's recent with Michigan just winning the championship. I think that makes you breathe a little bit. But also, I think it's easier for Sharon Moore to replace Jim Harbaugh than it is for Kalen DeBoer to replace Nick Saban. And the reason why I say that is because Sharon Moore got onto the field a little bit this year as a head coach because of the suspensions, and also he's a Harbaugh guy. Where DeBoer, who I think the world of him, and I think he's going to be a rock star, and I've said that for years, DeBoer is going into uncharted territory and replacing the greatest college football coach ever. So that's why I ended up going with DeBoer. The other 3 names, Dillon Gabriel at Oregon. Once again, a dual kind of response here. I think Dan Lanning has a chance, if he could win a championship, to be the next face, one of those coaches, the next face of college football. But the reason why I go with Dillon Gabriel is I think Oregon has everything in front of them for this season. Where last year they were really good, but they couldn't beat Washington. I think this is a team, with the way that they recruit and the way that Lanning coaches, even after losing their star wide receiver and their star quarterback, that they could win it all this year. And Gabriel goes into Eugene with a lot more experience and a lot more success than Bo Nix had. And look, Bo Nix ended up having 2 really good seasons at Oregon. I did not expect him to be the 12th overall pick in the draft, but there was a lot more work that needed to be done with Bo Nix than there will be with Dillon Gabriel. So I put him in that conversation as well. And the other 2 are quarterbacks as well. Quinn Ewers. And we kind of talk about those dual reasons why. Quinn Ewers is at Texas. Texas now goes into the SEC. Quinn Ewers comes off a season where Texas won their conference championship and they were in the college football playoff. Quinn Ewers deserves to be the starter this year. Quinn Ewers also has got injured the last 2 seasons, and whether it was Malik Murphy getting onto the field, right? Now Malik Murphy's at Duke, so if Quinn Ewers gets hurt again, then it goes over to Arch Manning. And then that's a whole different can of worms there with Arch Manning. And you open up Pandora's box there if you end up going to him. So Quinn Ewers has 2 storylines. Texas has national championship expectations for the first time in a long time. Can Quinn Ewers continue to be the guy for Texas, which he's been the last few seasons? And if he's not, whether it's injury or his play declines, and he's projected to be a first-round pick, does Sark end up pulling the plug and going to Arch Manning, who is now the backup quarterback? And finally, it's Carson Beck. You could argue Kirby Smart. And Kirby Smart right now has the baton as the face of college football. But I don't find Kirby Smart to be polarizing. I think Carson Beck has a chance this year to have a great season. Where I think there's a chance we're talking about Carson Beck at the end of the year as a Heisman Trophy winner, as a national champion, and also a top 10 pick in the draft. Beck is someone this year I am most intrigued to see how Carson Beck plays. Because college football is very open this year. Saban out, Harbaugh out, Ohio State in the fold. You look at a guy like Carson Beck, and he's someone that he has all the tools to be a great quarterback. And Georgia, when Stetson Bennett won, he played great in that system. But no one ever thought Stetson Bennett was going to be this great pro quarterback. Beck has the tools to be a great pro quarterback. And you know what? I gave you the 5 names. One more just popped into my mind. Because I said 5 most intriguing names in college football this year. Shador and Dion, Kalen DeBoer, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, and Carson Beck. The other one that has to be on this list, and we talk about Ohio State getting on the cover, it's Ryan Day. Ryan Day took over for Urban Meyer where Ohio State was rolling. And Ohio State dominated Michigan. And now Ryan Day, he can't beat Michigan to save his life. And you mentioned Sharon Moore, Samter. Now Harbaugh's out. So if Ryan Day, and I know he lost to Sharon Moore this year because Harbaugh was suspended, but if you can't beat Michigan when they just won a national championship, put all these players in the NFL, you're going to lose that fan base. And that's a team on paper this year, like they have in other years, that has every opportunity to win a national championship. But I just don't believe in Ryan Day because he comes off to me as a phony coach. I think Ryan Day is phony. And that he tries to be a tough guy. That's what he does. Remember attacking Lou Holtz after you beat Notre Dame. What did he do? You probably should have lost that game. That's when I was out on Ohio State last year. It was that win over Notre Dame because in all likelihood, their quarterback, Kyle McCord, should have thrown a pick. Marcus Freeman couldn't get the right amount of guys on the field too. They were lucky to win that game. And he talks about how tough his football team is and go after Lou Holtz of all people because Lou Holtz is on McAfee saying that Ohio State isn't tough. Like, give me a break. So those are some of the more intriguing names for college football this upcoming year. We'll take a break. If you want to join into the conversation, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. You could also give us a message on Instagram or Twitter, X, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. Come on back. Samter has compiled a list of some questions. I will try to compile some answers for you in the next few minutes. When we come on back, we do this segment every Monday and Friday right here on the Infinity Sports Network, only on the Zach Gelb Show. It's called Onside Offside. Coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Infinity Sports Network. It is the Zach Gelb Show. It is a Friday. So on every Monday and Friday, we do onside, offside. Stu, take it away. Hit it.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
All righty, Sam, what do we got cooking?
All right, we talked about him earlier today. New Commanders QB Jaden Daniels, certainly one of the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. But after the former LSU teammate and fellow top 10 pick Malik Neighbors admitted they made a bet about winning Rookie of the Year, Daniels confirmed the bet to Keyshawn Johnson.
Is it facts or fiction that you and him have a Rookie of the Year bet going on?
Man, he wasn't supposed to tell nobody. It was supposed to be. We got a little something going on.
What's the bet though? Is it money or is it what?
Yeah, it's money.
How much?
10. Who won Rookie of the Year?
That's nothing for y'all now. You guys.
I mean, he put it out there, so it's like that ain't really. I can't say he capped. So
now reports say that the NFL will likely try to step in and nix the bet as going against league rules.
Don't they have to?
Well, I mean, I don't know how they can actually do it. I mean, at the end of the day, Jaden and neighbors can do whatever they want behind the scenes. But if it's found out and the league knows and they realize that there's actually a bet being taken place, it goes against league rules.
That's a slippery slope.
It is.
Because when you say you can't bet on something, like, they are not betting with, like, a bookie here. They're just betting amongst themselves, that it's not like they are... The intention wasn't to publish this anywhere and, like, place it with someone, but then you speak it and you make it public and you throw money out there, and a lot of people go, oh, well, you're betting, but it feels like this is in good spirit. I don't think this is going to turn into a Porter situation in Toronto where you have Malik Neighbors who's like, I need the 10 grand, so let me just tank the Rookie of the Year award.
Oh, it's the opposite. He has to win the Rookie of the Year. So,
yeah.
So onside, offside, you're okay with players making friendly bets with each other.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. There's no way you could even tank this.
No.
Because then you're just screwing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless if he tells someone, put the money on Jaden Daniels, but both these guys may not even end up winning it. So there's no way to even.
It's just two friends being competitive with each other. It's not like an actual bet. It's not like betting
I'm good with this.
Against a spread that could be thrown. It's just two guys being like, I think I'm better than you.
I was trying to think about a way that you could, like, tank this to try to benefit yourself, but there's no way here.
I mean, if like two friends were like betting on another game, like, hey, Daniels and Neighbors were betting on Cowboys Eagles, and maybe Neighbors has some information about the Cowboys, or maybe Daniels has, maybe that's a little bit different. But these are just two guys betting on themselves to win awards.
Yeah, if they're just like, if they would have said, hey, we're betting a steak dinner, no one would bat an eye at this. All right, so yeah, you're okay with players making friendly bets with each other. Yeah, in a case, if it's set up like this, where there's no way they could actually compromise the integrity of the game, on sides, I'm fine with this.
Now, the Raiders head into 2024 with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew as their top two QB options. And
sorry,
yesterday,
Stu.
Jeez.
I love and Minshew. Gardner Minshew, give me a break.
Hey, listen, the only threat to the Chiefs this year is Gardner Minshew and the Raiders. I'm telling you right now. Yesterday, Antonio Pierce indicated that one of them has a clear lead at this point.
If you got competition in the quarterback room, what does every other room look at? Looking at those two guys. What I see is guys get out there early. Aiden is already kind of taking the bull by the horn, and he's leading the way, and Minshew's right there doing as well. Two guys has played, and you saw them play against each other last year, and they went neck to neck. But I'm really excited to see what happens. I think it's going to be a process. We're going to stick to the process. But as I said before, Aiden's earned the right to go out there and get the first snap.
So onside, offside, Aiden O'Connell will be the starting quarterback week 1 for the Raiders.
Offsides, I think it's going to be Minshew.
Offside.
Aiden O'Connell, I know Max Crosby, when he was on with us at the Super Bowl, was talking about saying, why can't he be him? It's like, if you want to throw O'Connell to the wolves the first few games because you think there's upside to be a franchise quarterback, I guess. But does anyone actually think Aiden O'Connell is the franchise quarterback of the Raiders? I don't think Minshew is, but Minshew is the better player in the league. He did a very good job last year with the Colts, almost led them to the playoffs. And a few years before that, he had a solid season in Jacksonville. So I would go with Gardner Minshew because the other option, Aiden O'Connell, is just like so blah.
Now, as Jalen Brunson continues to excel and carry the Knicks, some fans have placed Brunson among the Knicks' best ever list. However, Draymond Green is not quite ready yet to put Brunson ahead of Carmelo Anthony in Knicks lore.
And I know it's been this debate about, is Jalen Brunson one of the greatest Knicks ever already and all of these things. I have a hard time saying Jalen Brunson is higher up than Melo because I came in the league underneath Melo. Melo was one of the superstars in the league when I came in. And, just watching Melo my entire life, I feel like one of those old heads that be hating on the younger guys. Like when our generation, when this guy did that, and can never see past that. But I still got to roll with Melo for now. But Jalen Brunson is making his mark.
Onside, offside, Jalen Brunson is a better Knicks player than Melo ever was.
I'm going offside. And here's why. If you said more impactful, I would have said Jalen Brunson is a more impactful Knicks player than Carmelo Anthony ever was. But in terms of being the better player, I think Carmelo Anthony was consistently viewed as a top 10, maybe at times even top 5 player in the NBA during his era. Jalen Brunson, and there's been no one more positive and optimistic about Jalen Brunson than me. I thought him or SGA should have won the MVP. Up until this postseason, I think a lot of people nationally, I'm not talking about the Knicks fan that watches him every night, but a lot of people nationally did not recognize or even refer to Jalen Brunson as even being a great player, just being very good. So I think Carmelo is the better player, but Brunson has been more impactful. And through time, I think Brunson can be the better player, because I still think to some level there's a lot more that Jalen Brunson can do, and that's incredible to say because he's already doing a whole lot, and he's been phenomenal to watch.
Offside. Now, Zach, despite your calls for Jamal Murray...
Hey, real quickly before we get to this, Billy Wolf in the YouTube chat makes a good point. The Raiders deciding their quarterback could actually come down to a coin flip, if you believe the whole draft decision between Terrion Arnold and Brock Bowers, that it landed on tails and Brock Bowers is the reason why he's going to the Raiders. If they can't make that decision, Antonio Pierce may flip that coin right up in the air to decide Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
For the record, I don't believe that story to be true. I think that some scout, some player personnel guy just told that to Terrion Arnold to make him feel better about them not drafting him. I don't think the Raiders actually flipped a coin in their war room. But
so I care a lot about this story. Can we just maybe reach out to the Raiders? And can we potentially, heads or tails, Santa, real quick?
Heads always, every time.
Okay, if it's heads, we're going to reach out to the Raiders over the weekend and see if they'll give us like Tom Telesco or Antonio Pierce next week. Ready? We'll land on tails, but we're going with heads anyway.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll send out an email this weekend.
Yeah, let's do that.
So despite your calls for Jamal Murray to be suspended for his Game 2 antics, the NBA just fined the Nuggets star. Yesterday, Murray sounded defiant, unapologetic, and even annoyed when speaking to reporters about it.
It is what it is, and I take everything full responsibility, so on to the next.
Was it just your frustration boiled over? Is that what happened?
Yeah, on to the next. I mean, there's not much, 2 days ago, not much for me to say about it right now.
Were there any conversations that you had with people or anything just to kind of apologize or whatever it may be?
Do you have any basketball questions? No.
I mean, he just sounds kind of petulant. Onside, offside. Between his antics...
I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I think that this is a player that knows he was in the wrong, but this has now become such a story, and this is coming from me, right, who called for the guy to be suspended, and I thought his actions were petulant there that night. But you got to move on and focus on the game. The suspension came down. It's like you're going to get asked all these questions. He's just trying to give non-answers so people just stop. So you move on to the next story and you get ready for the game. I really didn't have any problem with anything he said there.
Okay, so that might answer this question. Onside, offside. Between his antics and lack of remorse, Murray will forever be thought of as a villain.
Oh, no. I don't think many people have an opinion on Jamal Murray. I think they just think he's like a good player.
I didn't until this week.
Yeah, I thought he looked like a jerk in one night, but if we all said someone was a jerk or a villain for their entire career based off one moment, like, hey, you could do that in one moment. It was weak what he did, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are thinking of Jamal Murray as this villain because he acted like a douche the other night. So between his antics and lack of remorse, Murray will forever be thought of as a villain. Absolutely not offside.
Offside. Now, on the way to winning the national title, Michigan won its third straight game against rival Ohio State in the game. This week, outgoing and longtime athletic director Gene Smith of the Buckeyes made a bold claim about those losses because of Michigan's sign-stealing scandal.
Do you feel like our 3-game losing streak to Michigan deserves a little bit of an asterisk, since for at least 2 of those years it appears they were cheating?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah, I mean, the rules are in place to protect the integrity of the game and try your best to create a level playing field. And when those rules are violated, then it affects those principles. And so we have to keep that in perspective.
What Homer show was that on? That had to be Ohio State, our championship.
Yeah, it was a local Ohio State show.
please.
So onside, offside, Michigan's wins over Ohio State during the scandal should have an asterisk.
Absolutely not. Offside.
Offside.
Ryan Day just can't beat Jim Harbaugh. And also, he couldn't beat Sharon Moore. Everyone in America that made this story such overblown and ridiculous, everyone knew everything about Michigan, and they lined the ball up on the field with everyone watching Michigan's move, and Michigan still beat Ohio State. What that is Gene Smith on the way out just wants the fans to talk about him positively. Like, give me a break. Man, it is sad. Sad to see how far Ohio State has fallen. Next question.
Now, last night, Caitlin Clark made her much-anticipated debut for the Indiana Fever, scoring 12 points in her first preseason game in front of a sellout crowd of 13,000 fans.
It was a lot of fun. I thought they were loud. I thought they were into it. It was fun to see, some people in some Iowa stuff and then a lot of people in Fever gear. And, this is a preseason game on a Thursday night and there's 13,000 people here. I think that just shows, what it's going to be like for us all season, and it's going to help us.
Now, this week, the WNBA also announced that for the first time ever, teams will be using chartered flights for travel rather than commercial flights. So there's obviously money coming into the WNBA.
See the security, by the way, around Caitlin Clark when she was in the airport a few days ago?
Amazing. And, her jersey sales are, breaking every record. It doesn't matter what sport, male, female.
Are they sold out? Could I get a Caitlin Clark jersey right now if I wanted to?
You can probably get a Caitlin Clark. You might have to create your own at this point. But, yeah, it's insane. Onside, offside, the momentum and growth of women's basketball will last.
Onsides because of Caitlin Clark. Now, there's a lot of other good players. Juju at USC, Paige Becker's still at UConn. Angel Reese will still be a story now in Chicago. Camila Cardoso, I think, also got drafted in Chicago, too. There's going to be players to follow. But Caitlin Clark has it where she makes people want to watch. And a sellout crowd for a preseason game of 13,000 fans. The momentum, I think, is going to continue because of Caitlin Clark. So, onsides.
And last one, Utah is getting an expansion NHL team, and today they announced 20 of their top potential names, including the Venom, Ice, Freeze, Blizzard, Caribou, Frost, Outlaws, Mammoth, Glaciers, Yeti, Squall, Glaciers, and Black Diamonds. Here's my personal favorite, onside, offside. The best name in this list is the Utah Yeti.
Offside. I would go with the Squall. I like that, the Utah Squall. So that's what I'm going with. Stu, hit the sound.
Offside.
All right, that's Onside Offside. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We're going to do something on the other side where I saw something last night when I was very close to the court at the Knicks game, a row behind the bench. And it made me think about celebrities that you would want to sit next to at a basketball game. We'll get to that on the other side. Update time first, though. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Suns are on their third coach under new owner Matt Ishbia and are pinning their hopes on Mike Budenholzer. The 54-year-old is reportedly their target and should get a deal that will pay him $10 million annually. The Knicks held serve at home, opening a 2-0 lead over the Pacers. Indiana hosts tonight Game 3. The Pacers have been upset with the officiating, and head coach Rick Carlisle was fined $35,000 for his recent comments, while the Knicks have other concerns without OG Anunoby for tonight and likely Game 4 as well due to a hamstring, though his team has a nice cushion so far. Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau said there's a long way to go.
We can't feel too good. We know we're going to have to be a lot better when we go to Indianapolis. And so that's tomorrow we lock in, take a look at the film, make corrections, and get ready for Game 3.
The Knicks are in a similar spot as they were in February when Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, and Julius Randle were all out as they are tonight. The other game of the night features the Timberwolves hosting Denver and holding a 2-0 series lead over the defending champs. Rudy Gobert returns to the lineup after missing Game 2 for the birth of his child, and former Major Leaguer Sean Burroughs has died suddenly at the age of 43. He was a first-round pick of the San Diego Padres in 1998 before playing 7 seasons. He also won 2 Little League World Series. I'm Rich Ackerman.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Rock your body. Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Terry in Austin says, Zach, who do you think is more unlikely to return with the Cowboys next season? Is it Mike McCarthy or Dak Prescott? Good question. You can submit one by tweeting at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. So McCarthy's in the final year of his deal. Dak is in the final year of his deal as well. Dak controls his ability to hit free agency as he has a no tag clause in his contract. 9 times out of 10, I will usually go with the player is more likely to return than the coach. I do have a feeling this will be it for Mike McCarthy in Dallas. I also kind of think that Dak should leave the Dallas Cowboys after this season. But if it came down to who is more unlikely to be back in Dallas next season, I would say it's more unlikely that McCarthy is not back in Dallas compared to Dak Prescott. So the other night I was at the Knicks game and I had great seats. I was sitting right behind the bench, a row or two behind the bench. And at the Knicks game, they have like all these celebrities there. You know, you have Fat Joe, you have Ben Stiller, you have Michael Fox, Chris Rock was there. And sitting across from me on the other side of the court was Ice Spice. And I was a little disappointed, if I'm not going to lie, with Ice Spice. She's at the game, sitting courtside. They show her on the big screen. I think it was in the third quarter. It was in the second half. After she gets shown on the big screen, I'm like, I knew it was Ice Spice across from me, but then everyone knows it's her because she was like in the corner courtside across from me. And right after they showed her on the big screen, it must have been within the next TV timeout. Gone. Now, I don't know where she went. Maybe she went up to a suite. Potentially. But if she left the game, that's a bad job out of Ice Spice. You can't go to the game, playoff game, and pretend like you care. And I'm not an expert in her fandom. I'm not an expert in Ice Spice. Outside of, I know what she looks like. But you can't go to the game, get shown on the big screen, right? Celebrity row with all these celebrities. Oh, you get the standing ovation. Yeah, it's Ice Spice. Yeah. And then by the next TV timeout, you can't leave the game. Now, once again, if she did go up to a suite, okay. But if she got into a car service or whatever and left the stadium just to get the pop from the crowd on the big screen, bad job out of Ice Spice. That's a bad job if so. So it got me thinking. If I could tell you, Samter and Stu, giving you 2 tickets courtside Madison Square Garden. Obviously 1 ticket for you, 1 ticket for a celebrity. Who is the celebrity that you're bringing to the game? I have my answer. I will hold off on my answer. If you know me, my answer is very obvious. But Samter, I will start with you. Who's your celebrity that you're bringing and why?
I mean, we're talking about bringing a celebrity to a basketball game. So the first celebrity I think of at a hoops game is Jack Nicholson. Like, that would be so cool. Maybe the coolest guy in the history of Hollywood. Jack is just awesome.
And he's always at these games.
Yeah, so it would be cool for me to be sitting next to Jack and talking to Jack, watching a game with Jack, getting his perspective, because he's been to thousands of games, and the stuff that he could tell me and show me and just the interaction would just be awesome. But I think, honestly, and like Morgan Freeman is my favorite actor, so he was a guy I was thinking of also.
Imagine sitting next to him with that voice.
Oh, God, I love Morgan Freeman. Everything that he's in is just, oh, my gosh. But for me, the person I would want to sit next to, and like I think the initial thought that everyone has is like, who's the hottest girl? Who's my crush that I want to sit next to? That's not the way I'm going. A, I'm married. B, I'm not shooting my shot with a
Samter knows
celebrity.
me well.
Yeah. For me, I'm going with the guy who I think I'll have the most fun with, and that's Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is like the funniest dude around. He owns a soccer team, right? He's just a funny guy.
Is he fun to hang out with, though?
He seems like he'd be hilarious to hang out with. He's Deadpool. He's funny. He's sarcastic. He's got a hot wife. He's friends with Taylor Swift, right? He owns a soccer team.
I don't know how funny he is to hang out with, honestly.
I would guarantee that he would be hilarious to hang out with. Ryan Reynolds is my man crush. I would love to hang out with him at a sporting event.
Okay. I was not expecting that one. I was not expecting you to say Jack, and then I was not expecting you to say Ryan. Was not. Stu, who's yours?
I will go with arguably the most famous person in the world right now.
Oh, God, we should have known this one.
I mean, you should have known. Taylor Swift. I'm going with her. I just think it'd be great. I'd be starstruck. Get the insight on Travis.
I don't think you like the attention. You walk in with Taylor Swift.
That'd be a lot of attention.
Like, don't get me wrong. You walk in with Ryan Reynolds. Samter and Ryan Reynolds sit down. No one's going to be like writing these gossip blog posts about Ryan Reynolds going to the Knicks game. Like, you get the roar from the crowd. That's about it. You walk in with Taylor Swift. Stu, first off, everyone's doing a feature on your life. And then number two, you're all over the place. So do you want the smoke that comes from the Swifties, where then you would be the trending topic
I would be.
on TikTok?
I 100% would be. Who is this loser next to Taylor Swift?
Have you seen the movie Hitch?
Yes.
Yeah, with Will Smith and Kevin James. He'd be Kevin James in Hitch, sitting courtside with the celebrity Allegra Cole. And he was like, who's this slob spilling like mustard all over his shirt while sitting next to the celebrity? That would be Stu.
So Delta 9 Brian knows me very well. Zach wants to sit next to Jay-Z and his wife. When I first put this in the Slack, hey, we're going to do a topic today. Just don't tell me, come up with the celebrity that you want to sit courtside with at, let's say, Madison Square Garden. At first, I was about to type Jay-Z because that would be so cool. But then the moment I thought of Jay-Z, I'm like, hello, my childhood crush, the person that would overtake the entire room. I have been in the same room before as Beyonce. Super Bowl, New Orleans, Radio Row, 2013, 2014, something like that, circa that. And Beyonce walked in the room. Everyone in a room full of egos and talk shows that were all live. Everyone stopped and stood up and watched Beyonce. Even J.J. Watt. And this is a true story. J.J. Watt standing next to yours truly and my father. Beyonce sits down next to Rich Eisen and Deion Sanders doing the interview on the NFL Network. Let's just say Beyonce wasn't facing us. And J.J. Watt turns to my father and I and goes, boys, we got the best view in the house. My answer is Beyonce. You walk in with, Stu's answer is great in Taylor Swift. You walk in with Beyonce, mega star. The whole room is watching you. And also, that is my childhood crush, Beyonce. So I would want to go sit courtside with Beyonce.
So outside of people looking and staring at her and then wondering why she's with you, what are you getting out of this? Right? She's married to a multi-billionaire superstar rapper.
Who I love, Jay-Z.
So like if you're going to pick a woman, pick a single woman that you have an opportunity to like maybe just get lucky with. Right? Why are you picking a married woman to sit with that you have no shot with?
This is how I know you have not been in the game.
What kind of conversation are you going to have with Beyonce?
This is how I know you have not been in the game for a while. Because let me explain to you how this works. In all likelihood, any of these single, famous, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10s, if I take them to a game courtside, they're probably not going home with me. I'm comfortable in saying this.
But a better chance with them than with Beyonce.
No. You go with Beyonce, though. The rest of the world sees you with Beyonce. And then you're walking down the streets and like, there's that guy. That guy was sitting next to Beyonce. Courtside at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I think it's like a Make-A-Wish thing or something.
No, that's not a nice joke on a Friday. That's just not a.
Like, if you're sitting next to, like, Emily Ratajkowski, maybe you don't go home with her, but they're like, man, that's the new ball.
I would not be the first, and I would not be the last to sit courtside with Emily at a game. It seems like she has a new boyfriend every month.
Yeah, but then at least everyone's like, oh, well, this is the new one. He must be special. If you're sitting next to Beyonce, they know you're not there dating her. They think you're just some guy who is at a game next to her.
You kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
You're killing nothing.
You get to fulfill a childhood crush with Beyonce, and you get to find out everything about Jay-Z, who I love. Love Jay-Z as well. Maybe I get to go back to the crib afterwards and hang out with Jay-Z and Beyonce and have a cocktail. Maybe that's the case.
Good luck with that. I'll hang out with Ryan Reynolds and
Ryan Reynolds. Be boring. Who are you going to say next? Come on, Ryan Reynolds. Do a lot better.
Well, his wife, Blake Lively. Maybe I'll go hang out with Blake Lively's best friend with Taylor Swift. So, you know, that whole thing will all work together.
Wasn't he married before? Was this Scarlett Johansson?
He was married to a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot.
He's dated him, Derek Jeter. They have just like an all-star roster.
That would never be allowed today. Remember when SportsCenter used to do the Derek Jeter diamond of the girls that like he dated? Could you imagine them doing that today? That would never happen. All righty. Let's get on out of here before the bosses call us and say, what are you guys doing? We'll talk to you on Monday, everybody, at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Big thanks to Stu. Big thanks to Samter. Big thanks to each and every one of you for tuning into the show. We will be back on Monday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go Rangers as always. Oh, by the way, I have tickets for Game 5 with my brother-in-law. This could be back-to-back years. The Nuggets-Lakers didn't get to Game 5. If the Rangers don't get to Game 5, we'll just never go to a game, my brother-in-law and I. All right, everybody, be out. Bye-bye. Peace.